Shira.
Shalom, Rabbanit Hamutal.
So I'm a very morning person.
I know. I don't know how you do that. Yeah, I'm not.
When I have something urgent to do, I'm just going to wake up very, very early before my kids, and I'm going to sit down to write or to send emails, whatever I need. Like 5 a.m. is the best time for me.
So I would rather stay awake from night till 5 o'clock in the morning and then go to sleep than waking up early in the morning. My good hours, my creative hours is during the night. I'm waiting for the house to be quiet. It's never quiet in my house, Baruch Hashem, but I'm trying. And then I'm just making myself coffee, sitting in a room by myself and sitting to write. These are my good hours in between midnight to 5 o'clock in the morning.
So I thought about the differences between you and me when I read the Mishnah that's starting the 4th chapter of Sanhedrin about the differences between Dinei Mamonot and Dinei Nefashot. And one of the interesting things is that Dinei Mamonot, when you speak about money, you can start the trial in the morning and finish at night. But when you're discussing a person's life, then you can start it in the morning, but you have to sleep on it and then give the verdict the next day.
Even if all the evidence are very clear and you already know from the first hour of the discussions, you think you know what you're gonna rule, you still have to sleep on it and to wait for it for the second day.
Exactly.
And I think the Mishnah gives us, nachon, in Daf Lamed Bet, maybe we'll read the Mishnah.
Yeah.
So the Mishnah gives us the differences between Dinei Mamonot and Dinei Nefashot. There are 8 differences.
Right. אחד דיני ממונות ואחד דיני נפשות בדרישה ובחקירה. So the first thing is that we always have to investigate and check for evidence and whatever it is. And then we spoke about the amount of judges. We have 3 for everything that has to do with money, but 23 when it has to do with דיני נפשות. And then דיני ממונות פותחים בין לזכות ובין לחובה. You can start with the pros and cons, it doesn't matter. But דיני נפשות, you would always start with זכות. You would always start with
Why do you think that he's not guilty?
Exactly, because that's the first impression.
So the first impression on the judges needs to be, why do you think that he didn't do it?
Right.
In order for that to start like the ruling of the day. I think what's interesting is that we already in the 4th chapter of Sanhedrin, but all of the Masechet is basically talking about why is it important to have justice? Why is it important to have a system that will make sure that we're living in a company, that we're living in a society, that equality is a right for everyone? It doesn't mean, according to the pasuk, ger or toshav, it doesn't mean what is your status. Yeah. It doesn't mean if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you have money or don't. When something is happening, you have the right to come to court and to voice your opinion. But all of a sudden, when we're talking about Dinei Nefashot, all of a sudden, the most important thing is not equality, is not shivyon anymore. If we started, and I think that's why the Mishnah in Lamed Bet starts, אחד דיני ממונות ואחד דיני נפשות בדרישה וחקירה, שנאמר, משפט אחד יהיה לכם. So everyone deserves this equality in the law, in front of the law, but in Dinei Nefashot, it doesn't happen. All of a sudden, this meta, I would say, principle doesn't exist, because in Dinei Nefashot, we're trying to say the most important thing is to try and not say that you're guilty, to say that you are
innocent.
Toda, I was missing that word.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to try and to find ways to say that you're innocent and not to try and to find maybe justice. No, I would say you do want it to be just, but you'll do everything to make the person innocent.
Exactly. And the Tosfot is saying, are saying, אחד דיני ממונות, on דף ל"ב, מה בין דיני ממונות לדיני נפשות? What's the difference? אף על גב דשבים בחקירה ודרישה. You will ask all the questions and make sure that you know every single detail. לעניין מילי דתלו בזכות וחובה, אין להשוותם, דלא שייך בדיני ממונות. So about the זכות, you're trying to find any angle that this person is not going to be convicted. You're always starting with his good side, with all these considerations that you don't start in Dinei Mamonot. And also, what we say, you start in the day and you finish the next day, and you can't, if something happened in Dinei Mamonot, let's say the court says that you owe me 100 shekels, and then they figure out they were wrong, they can reopen the trial. But in Dinei Nefashot, you can only reopen the trial if you're sure that you convicted him, and it's not true. So you do everything in your power to not convict him.
And the question is why? Meaning, why in Dinei Nefashot we are suddenly so eager to find the person innocent and not to convict him? To convict?
Yeah.
And the Marili is saying, because in Dinei Mamonot, when we're talking about money, if you're telling me that I have to pay you 100 shekel, so one of us will be missing 100 shekel and one of us will be more fortunate with 100 shekel. But in Dinei Nefashot, because we're talking about the court has the ability to say, we're going to punish you because you killed someone and we're going to kill you. So because we're talking about lives of people, then all of a sudden we're in a different arena. We're talking about in a different dimension.
Right.
And this dimension has to give the court a different place in saying, this is not something simple. This is not something that you can just rule over it and you can decide on the life of people. When you're deciding on life of people, you are practically being a partner with the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, and also in Dinei Nefashot, not everyone can say chova about you, but everyone can speak in your favor. And in Dinei Mamonot, everyone can do the same. In Dinei Nefashot, only the dayanim, the judges, can speak against you because we want as many people as possible to speak in your favor in order for you to not be convicted.
To not convict you.
And there's also one interesting thing that has to be in the world in order for us to do Dinei Nefashot. Meaning, if we don't have this in the world, we cannot do this trial, right?
And that's why today we don't have the authority, according to the Torah, ladun b'dinei nefashot, to rule in people's life, and that's because we don't have Beit Mikdash and we don't have Sanhedrin. Why does the Beit Mikdash has to do with our ability to rule over lives of people? And Sefer HaChinuch is explaining that, and he's saying because dinei nefashot hu davar kashe, it's a very hard thing to do. שצריך דקדוק גדול ביותר. You have to be very specific and very accurate. ונצטוו העדה להיות מצילים הנידון בכל דבר. What we are, the order that the Torah tells us, the instruction that the Torah gives us, that we have to do everything in our power in order to save that person.
I could have said we have to do everything in our power to do justice, but Sefer HaChinuch is saying no. What you have to do is save this person's life.
נכון. And to make sure that even if you're punishing him, meaning like today, putting him in jail for the rest of his life, in order for him not to hurt anyone else, but it's different than ruling that he needs to die.
Exactly.
Meaning it's a different area. And that's why we have to be very careful. שיבוא בדין על כל פנים לפני בדין, לא ידינו העדים שראו הדבר בעיניהם לעולם, בגלל maybe if the witnesses are saying, and this is another interesting difference between Mamonot and Nefashot. In Mamonot, we're ruling according to probability, meaning I walked into my house, I saw the safe open, and I saw someone walking out of my house with
a bunch of money.
I can say most probably he's the one that broke open my safe and took my money.
Exactly.
But in Dinei Nefashot, if I haven't seen the actual murder and two people, and I'm shouting and telling him, be careful, don't kill him. If you'll kill him, the court will kill you. Meaning giving hatra'ah. So if I haven't seen the actual movement or the actual action,
you can't be a witness.
So you can't be a witness. You can be a witness to say, I saw him walking into the house. I saw him walking around with a knife. But you can't say, I saw him kill him.
Exactly.
And that's why it has like a different power over the court.
And I think the important thing about having a mikdash in order for us to judge Dinei Nefashot is the connection with Hashem. We're not doing this in order to figure out who has the money, who took it, who stole from who. It's something completely different. And our ability to maybe take someone's life after he murdered someone has to do with our connection to Hashem. So if we don't have a Bet Mikdash, we don't have a Sanhedrin, it's not in our power to do this kind of trial, and it's very interesting.
Because it's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is able to give life and to take life.
Exactly.
And once we're doing it, we're partnering with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we don't have Bet Mikdash, when we don't have Sanhedrin, we can't partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the same full extent that we could have done if we had a Bet Mikdash.
So I want to give us all a bracha that we would always lelamed zchut.
Be'ezrat Hashem.
Shavua tov.
Shavua tov.